Hi everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of the Maamar Yehi Hashem Elokeinu Imanu, which the Rebbe said on Gimmel Tammuz, the year Tafshin Chaf Daled, 1924. And this is based on a sicha that the Previous Rebbe, the Previous Rebbe, said on Gimmel Tammuz when he was on his way from his imprisonment to his exile in Kostroma. And he said this sicha at the train station. They had the Chassidim there, and the sicha was based on this verse from Malachim Aleph. Yesterday, in last video, we went through the first chapter and we brought up some of the wordings or the phrasings in the Previous Rebbe sicha that on the surface level, there's nothing really to it. You hear the sicha and it sounds like words of encouragement from the Previous Rebbe that he's giving to his Chassidim and to the Jews, that we should Hashem should be with us, He will be with us. But the Rebbe, he goes picking at it and he says there's something more to it. That it's kind of strange to hear a request and a promise, like a assurance at the same time, that Hashem, davening that Hashem should be with us, and also kind of assuring that Hashem will be with us. There's it's strange to have those two together, because seemingly they're opposite. And we have that not just in how the Previous Rebbe said it, because he said, Hashem Yisbarach soll sein mit uns und wird sein mit uns. He should be with us and he will be with us. So the Previous Rebbe himself said that this duality of a request and an assurance, but also the word Yehi has that duality, where Yehi can mean may it be, may Hashem be with us, or it can mean Hashem will be with us. So we had that picking of the phrase, and as well as we were trying to understand what the Previous Rebbe meant when he said he should be with us like he was with our forefathers. And the Previous Rebbe says, even though we're obviously not like our forefathers, and he's talking about in levels of Mesiras Nefesh. So our forefathers were Baalei Mesiras Nefesh, they were masters of sacrificing their soul. And the Previous Rebbe is saying Hashem should be with us just like they were with our forefathers, because they were sacrificing the souls, and He should be with us in the same way, even though we're not on that same level. And the Rebbe brought up this question, it's strange that the Previous Rebbe is including himself in that, even though obviously the Previous Rebbe is someone of a high level of Mesiras Nefesh. So he didn't answer that question, but he did bring that question up. Now we're going to go into chapter 2, where we're going to look into more of the strange language brought into this verse. And we're going to actually discuss a little bit what it means. Okay, so those who are following along, chapter 2, I space, let's begin. V'hinei noisef la'diukim sheba'asicha tzarich b'yir l'ba'alosh Yehi Hashem Elokeinu Imanu sheba kasuv atzmai. So an additional part of the phrase, part of the sicha that we need to understand in the actual verse itself, not what the Previous Rebbe said, added, but the verse itself. Yehi Hashem Elokeinu Imanu, may Hashem be with us. Dilach oira la'achar she'omrim Havai Elokeinu shehu Eloka shelanu v'efrat lahamavur b'chasidus she'Elokeinu perush kechenu v'chayasenu. Seemingly, after that it says Havai Elokeinu, that meaning Elokeinu is Eloka shelanu, that it's our God, and even more specifically how it's explained in Chassidus, that Elokeinu refers to the part of Hashem, the expression of Hashem, that He's our, meaning He gives us our life, He gives us our chayas, He's our enlightenment, I guess. Why do we need a request that He should be with us? Elokeinu means He's our God, something that we we have possession of, and even like a Chassidus says, the fact that we're alive, our liveliness comes from the part of Elokeinu, meaning the fact that we're alive means we have Elokeinu. So why are we saying Sheyi Imanu, that He should be with us? So that's already a straight something to look at. And now another thing, Gam tzarich lavin amru imanu gamer im avaseinu. He also says, we need something we need to understand. He says that He should be with us and with our He says with us, with our forefathers. The lashon im neifel al davar shehu tafel la davar shehu imoy. That the word im, with, it falls on something, it goes onto something that is secondary to the thing that it's with. Meaning, the Rebbe is going to give now an example in halacha. I'll just say it now, but I'll also bring an example very more clear. So he says, "K'mo yechalku yerushei habal im yerushei habav, she yerushei habal heim tfalim liyerushei haav." Just like the splitting of the inheritance of the husband with the inheritance of the father, that the inheritance of the husband, they are secondary to the inheritance of the father. There's a what's it called, nuance, I guess, in halacha, and it's discussed in Gemara, I'm sure, but a more simple analogy. When you have something with something, the first thing is usually the secondary thing. For example, ketchup with fries. The main dish isn't the ketchup. The fries is the main thing. It's the ikar. It's the primary dish, but then you have the ketchup with it. So ketchup with fries, or sugar with coffee. The main thing isn't the sugar or the ketchup. Those are just secondary. And you're saying it's with the primary thing. So to here we have this question. We have Hashem Elokeinu Imanu and Im Avasenu. That Hashem Elokeinu is with. It's the ketchup to the fries, which is us and our forefathers. So that's what the Rebbe says. V'afal pikein Yehi Elokeinu Imanu Im Avasenu. Yehi Elokeinu Tafel Aleinu V'Avasenu. That nevertheless, like we say, that Hashem our God should be with us, with our fathers. That Hashem Elokeinu is secondary, seemingly, to us and to our forefathers. Meaning we're the main thing, our forefathers were the main thing, and Hashem being with us, or being with our forefathers, is the secondary thing. Hashem is our ketchup to our fries. Just for a clear analogy. So that's it's seemingly weird. Hashem being secondary it's absurd to think of. We're all going to understand what that means. So we can explain this according to what's known. The reason that fear of heaven is called the treasure, where is it? In Yeshayahu, in the prophets, and also Gemara, and many places, the Yiras Shamayim, fear of heaven, is called the treasure. Why? Because it's just like the treasure of a king. How is it like a treasure of a king? Ein biyad hamelech laseis eitzur im lo yikavet ma'acherim. So a king, he doesn't have any treasure unless he collects it from other people. Meaning he goes, you go dig for treasure. It's not something you already possess. It's something you have to go look for, go collect from other places. So kain hayira oitzrei shel melech machem lachem hakadosh baruch hu eina biyadei shemayim k'maamar razal hakol biyadei shemayim chutz miyiras shamayim. So too with fear, which is the treasures of the King of Kings, Hashem being the King. It's not in the hands of heaven. But like the sages say, everything is in the hands of heaven except for fear of heaven. Meaning hands in heaven, meaning in the hands of Hashem. He has everything except fear of him. What does that mean? We're gonna explain that further. Okay. When we can add Da'atam al shalosh and oiter nemar biyad dafka Hagam she'inyan zeh she'akadosh baruch hu tzarich kivyachol la'adam hu b'chol ha'mitzvos ki b'chtei sheyeh kiyum ha'mitzvos k'debai hu al yidei ahavat Hashem or al yidei Yiras Hashem. So this, before we go into explain why Yiras Shamayim is something of a treasure for Hashem and why it's not in His possession, it's like something outside of Him, we're going to first add something. That the reason that the phrase treasure is said about fear specifically, is that even though that also that this inyan, this idea that Hashem needs so to speak, He needs people, is in this idea is in every mitzvah. Hang on. Hashem is needed to the man. No, sorry. This idea is also regarding all mitzvahs, that in order that the fulfillment of mitzvahs should be done properly is through love of Hashem or through fear of Hashem. Okay? The difference between love and fear is that love of Hashem comes from a revelation from above. Hashem shows His wonders and miracles, and we have like a crazy love for Hashem. It's like, wow, look at all these things. Why I love Hashem for doing so. Whereas the Yiras Hashem, the fear of Hashem doesn't come. It primarily comes through our work, what we do. It's dependent on us, not what comes from above, like Hashem showing His wonders and miracles. Rather, it's from our own self. We would explain further. Yiras Melech Basav Adam. We could explain this through an analogy of an actual physical king, because it could be kind of what's it called? Very esoteric to think fear of Hashem. It only comes on our avodah. Let's now look at how it is with an actual king. That the men of a country have fear before the king is because they accepted on themselves they accepted a king on themselves. They said he will be our king. The Kabbalah's Malchus hu alidei ha'am, that the nation decides who the king is. If it's a proper monarchy, there's like the nation decides who their king is. If a certain person doesn't like who their king is, they move to a different country where they like that king, I guess, and they respect that king. But generally, the people of a country, they live in that country because they respect the government or the actual king, if there's a monarchy, and they fear the king. So primarily a kingdom is created through the nation. As it says, we have a mitzvah, soim tasim alecha melech, like place for yourself a king. You should choose for yourself a king, make a king. B'ezrat Hashem, we should have the king of Eretz Yisrael very soon, King Mashiach. But to continue, V'al pi zeh yesh levar haloshen Yehi Hashem Elokeinu Imanu kasher haya im aveseinu. Okay, according to what we just explained, that the fear of heaven, fear of a king, comes from that point of the nation. It's from their own avodah, our own service. We can explain why it says Hashem Elokeinu Imanu and Im Aveseinu, meaning the Im implying that Hashem Elokeinu is secondary to us and to our forefathers. Ki b'yiras Hashem shehi reishis avodah ve'ikara v'sharsha ha'ikar hu avodah sa'ada. The fact that with fear of Hashem, that is the beginning of the service and it's the primary aspect of the service, and it's the root of all things. The reason why we serve, the reason why we do all our service to Hashem is because we fear Him. It's like, even if it's not revealed in in a person, like a person doesn't realize it, but primarily the reason why we do it is because of the fear we have for Hashem. And this is primarily, like I said, in the Yiras Hashem is primarily in the service of a person. And the revelation that comes from above, which is this aspect of Hashem Elokeinu in the pasuk, Yehi Hashem Elokeinu Imanu, the Hashem Elokeinu is just the revelation from above, and this is only coming to help a person, meaning it's just being with us. It's not really the primary aspect of our service. Our job is to be a servant to Hashem, to do His Torah and mitzvahs, and do them properly. And primarily it should be done with fear. And the fear doesn't come from Hashem giving to us. Hashem doesn't give us fear. That's more of a dictator where you don't have a choice. You have to fear Him. But Hashem doesn't work as a dictator. He's a king, and a respectful king. And naturally we love Him because He shows His kindness and wonders and miracles. But the reason why we serve Him is not because of that. It's because we fear Him. And that fear doesn't come from His revelations. Those revelations are only just there to help us. It's not the primary aspect of our service. So that's why we said Havaya Elokeinu, the revelation from above, is secondary to us, because us is the service, our fear. Okay. Now we're going on to chapter 3, and this will also help understand this idea that our service is the ikar, it's the primary thing, and the revelation from above is only secondary. והנה, הטעם על זה שהיראה באה בעיקר על ידי עבודת האדם, יש לומר כי יראה היא bittul. The reason for this, that fear comes primarily through the service of a person, we could say, is because fear is bittul. I guess if you're going to have a poster child for what the era looks like, what fear for Hashem looks like, the poster child will be bittul. It's nullification, you're nullifying yourself to Hashem. Yiras Shamayim, more specifically, fear of a king. So im tasim alecha melech shetehei masay alecha. It says about this mitzvah that you should place for yourself a king, that it should be his fear on you. Bittul the yira zay kasher im zeh shehu avdai shel hamelech. The nullification of this fear is connected with this, that he is a servant of the king. Now we can use a physical king as an example, but it also applies to Hashem. But the fact that the person is nullified to the king with fear, that he is fearing the king, is because he's a king's servant. The teva ha'eved hu she'emas ufachad ha'adain alav. The nature of a servant is that he has fear and awe of the master on him. A servant, we're talking about a servant that's hired properly and he wants to be a servant, not like a slave where captured. That's like I said, that's more of a dictator analogy. We're not talking about dictatorship. We're talking about an actual king. You have servants of the kings, and they're respected servants. They're not abused or anything. They're like properly taken care of servants, and they're servants because they want to be the servant of the king. But it's the nature of their servant is, wow, this is the king. I have much respect for him. I fear him, not from a place of he's going to punish me, but fear. It's like, and this is an amazing king, and this king can do anything. Obviously, we're talking about Hashem, but it's also just a natural, physical king. Their servants fear the king, and then they nullify themselves to the king because of this fear. That the nullification of a servant is like the ultimate nullification. And therefore it comes through the person specifically, meaning not like a dictatorship where it forces, like punishes him, like whips him or whatever to make him have fear for him, but it's like it comes from him, from himself. He nullified himself to the king, he fears him, and it comes specifically through him. Ki ha'pa'ula shenaisis ba'adam alidei gila milamala hi kamei davar noisif alav. Because the actions that are done in a person through revelations from above, like rewards and riches and treasure, amazing things from the king. When a person does things because of that, it's like something added onto him. It's not him. It's more like I'm doing it because of. Not I'm doing it. Zeu. That's it. I'm doing it because I get paid. I get good benefits. That's like Hashem giving us wonders and miracles. We don't do things for Hashem because He gives us wonders and miracles. It's really nice when He does that, but that's not why we do it. And if we did it because of that, it's not. It's like conditional. It's conditional love for Hashem, conditional service. We do things because of this. And if this thing doesn't exist, we wouldn't do it. So that's why we're saying why the service needs to come from the person themselves, which is a level of fear, is because it's not something additional. So like if it was something from a revelation, the Rebbe says, "L'chein hashinun shenaisa boy al yedei zehu rak ba'atzir shalai, aval lo yishinu ba'adam atzmai." If a person only serves a king because he has this benefits, he has his rewards, a change that happens in that person, and a person who serves him that way, it's only like on an external level. For like I said, if this thing didn't happen, if these revelations didn't come about, he didn't get paid, he didn't get rewarded. There's nothing really keeping him to the king. It's just something like an externality. He's putting on the uniform. He's going to work. Clocks in, 9 o'clock, but 5 o'clock. That's it. He's not going to get paid after 5 o'clock. He'll leave. Whereas so it's all like conditional, but and it doesn't really change his essence, who he really is. He's like he's a worker from 9 to 5. That's it. But 24 hours around the clock, he's not. He's someone else. In order that he should come to this ultimate nullification, where his whole entire being is just for the king. Bittul de Eved, which is the nullification of a servant. Shachilik bein chayrin le'eved hu be'etzem mitziyase. The Rebbe adds also that this is also the difference between a free person and a servant, is the essence of himself, who he is truly. Hu al-desha adam atzmai mekabel olav liyes avdoi shel hamelech. In order that a person should come to this ultimate nullification, that he becomes a servant to, that he should become the nullification of a servant, is through that the person himself accepts upon him that he's a servant of the king. That he is saying, I don't care about this, I'm not working for the king because he's paying me. I'm not serving Hashem because he shows me wonders and miracles and things. Life is good. I mean, again, we said those things help. Those things encourage him, I guess, to keep serving the king, serving Hashem. But that's not why he's serving him. The reason why he's serving him is because I'm a servant to Hashem. I'm a servant to the king. And that's where the true nullification comes. His whole existence is being a servant to the king. If it was coming from payments or rewards or wonders and miracles, then it doesn't change it's not his being, because if those things stopped, he wouldn't continue to serve. If those rewards stopped coming, he wouldn't continue to serve. Whereas a servant of the king, where he accepted upon himself to be the servant without any conditions, if those rewards come, it doesn't make a difference if he has those rewards or not. He's still going to serve the king on the same level, which is what we're saying is this ultimate nullification. So this whole idea of bittul, of nullification, is similar with Mesiras Nefesh. The Kevan Mesiras Nefesh hu bittul b'tachlis, we're saying the same thing, that Mesiras Nefesh, sacrificing your soul, is also the ultimate nullification. Refrat kisha Mesiras Nefesh hi al inyanim ke'ele she'al pi din tiva d'lamayla eid mechayev lemser nafshe aleim. And we're talking specifically when his sacrifices of soul are on things that are according to the law, according to commandments from Hashem. He's not obligated to sacrifice his soul. There's only few commandments within the Torah from Hashem that a person is obligated to sacrifice himself no matter what. Like if someone puts a gun to someone's head, chas v'shalom, and says, bow to my idol, otherwise I'll kill you. The person is obligated, al pi din, according to law by the Torah, that he should not bow to that idol, even if he'll get killed. So there's very few rules within Torah that a person is obligated to sacrifice his soul. But now we're talking about when a person's willing to sacrifice his soul, even if he's not obligated to according to the law. This is like a real Mesiras Nefesh. L'chein hi be'ikr lo al yedei gila elamayla ela al yedei she'adam moser es nafshe. Therefore, it's primarily not through revelation from above, rather through the person himself that he's giving over his soul. He's a person who's going to sacrifice himself only on things that he's obligated to. It sounds like conditional bittul, conditional nullification, conditional sacrifice of the soul. Yeah, okay. The king told me this is why I can sacrifice my soul, then I'll do that. Fine. But this is for the reward of a mitzvah, I guess. The mitzvah, there's, when someone does a mitzvah, they get rewarded for the mitzvah. So there's only 3, I guess, mitzvahs, where I think it's only 3 primary mitzvahs that a person is obligated to sacrifice his soul. But when it comes to other things, I'm not going to get rewarded if I sacrifice my soul. Therefore, I'm not. That's not real nullification. Even though he's willing to do it where he's obligated to, he's not really nullifying himself to the king. Whereas someone who nullifies himself to the king truly, he'll be ready to sacrifice his soul for everything, for even things that he's not obligated to. He's going to go above and beyond to sacrifice his soul, and this is not a terrible thing. This is a very praiseworthy thing. Gimmel Tammuz. So this is, according to everything we just said, we can understand even more why, we can understand the request and the prayer that the Balagula, the Previous Rebbe, said on Gimmel Tammuz, was with the phrase of the verse that Hashem our God should be with us, or like may Hashem our God be with us, like He was with our fathers, meaning the Imanu, the Hashem Elokeinu being secondary to us. Because his speech then was talking about ideas of the service of sacrificing the soul. And in this itself, like with several inyanim things, several things that according to the law he's not obligated to sacrifice his soul on them, that it comes primarily from the person himself. And since that the service of sacrificing the soul primarily comes from the service of the person, meaning it's person, because we said Mesiras Nefesh and fear, they're kind of synonymous here because it's the ultimate nullification, and this only comes primarily from the person himself. And the revelation from above, Hashem giving His rewards, these are only things just to, I guess, be encouragement, but the person's not doing it because of that. Therefore, this is why, because the Previous Rebbe was talking about ideas of Mesiras Nefesh, about nullifying yourself to Hashem, being Balei Mesiras Nefesh, therefore he began his request and prayer with Yehi Hashem Elokeinu Imanu, meaning Hashem our God should be with us, meaning secondary to us, because he's talking about ideas where the primary service is being true to yourself, meaning going out, sacrificing yourself to God, being a servant of Hashem because of yourself and not because of any conditions. And so because he was talking about those things within his sicha, and this is like his whole mission. This is the whole mission of that, like the Previous Rebbe was, his whole mission was being that, and he wanted to relay that onto all of Jewry. Therefore, he was coming with Hashem, our God. The revelation from above should be with us, meaning it's not the primary thing. They're just there to help. So this was the whole idea why it was with the wording imanu, that Hashem our God should be with us. Okay, we're going to hold here because the next chapter, it's another long chapter, and it's going to go onto more detailed phrasings of the sicha and the verse, and this Maamar is kind of like a Gemara. It's going into all the little details, and it's very what's it called, Niggleidik Maamar, where it's going on things according to detail, according to halacha. It's very crazy. I love this Maamar. I hope everything's understood. Again, if you don't understand, reach out to me. I'll try to clear things up. But that's for now, and I'll see you in next video. B'siras Tovis.